The Invesco QQQ, by far one of the most known ETFs in the world, has just been rebalanced on July 24th. So in this short video, I want to summarize for you what changed in this ETF and if it's something you should be worried about or not. As for most ETFs, QQQ gets rebalanced automatically once per year, meaning the weight of the single holdings and possibly the holdings themselves get changed. But this time Nasdaq decided to make a special rebalance. So why is that? Well, as Nasdaq itself describes it in the document that explains the index methodology, a special rebalance can be done by redistributing the weights when there is an overconcentration of some stocks in the index. And this is exactly what happened this year. Tech stocks have been growing immensely since 2023. Check this out. The 5 biggest stocks within QQQ, which are Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, and Tesla, have grown respectively 55%, 47%, 219%, 50% and 145% year to date. This was mostly due to a combination of a slowly expanding US economy, a slowdown of the rate hikes by the Fed, almost 2 years of bear market, and the excitement for the AI on tech stocks. All of this pushed QQQ and its benchmark, which is the Nasdaq 100 index, up over 43% so far this year. So why was a special rebalance necessary? Well, the published index methodology of Nasdaq describes 3 criteria that must be followed within the index. Number 1, no security weight may exceed 14% of the index. Number 2, the sum of the top 5 securities may not exceed 38.5%. And number 3, no security beyond the first 5 may have a weight exceeding the lesser between 4.4% and the weight of the first 5 by market capitalization. Comparing this criteria with the top 10 holdings of QQQ as of July 12, 1 week after the news about the rebalance, you can see that the first point is actually met. No stock exceeds 14% of the index. With the second point that says that the 5 largest stocks together must not exceed 38.5%, we have a problem. If you sum Microsoft, Apple, Alphabet, considering Class A and C together, Nvidia and Amazon, you get nearly 46% of the index. These are the stocks whose collective weight is going to have to be reduced to 38.5%. The third point says that the stocks beyond the top 5 must get capped at 4.4%. As of July the 12th, Tesla and Meta were both right at the limit, but between then and the day of the rebalance, they actually lost value, so they haven't been an issue. Now, in this graph, you can clearly see how much the concentration of the top 10 holdings has increased since 2022 in QQQ. And you can see that it went from around 40% to almost 60%. So before telling you what I think about this rebalance, and if you should look at it as a good or a bad thing, let me quickly show you what changed in this ETF. Here's how the Nasdaq 100, hence also QQQ, looked before and after the rebalance. The biggest cuts occurred in Microsoft and Nvidia, which lost nearly 3% each. Consider though that part of the reduction in Microsoft's weight has been simply due to a price drop. Amazon and Tesla lost more than 1% each, although just as I said for Microsoft, Tesla's drop actually has more to do with the fact that the stock dropped around 10% from its peak before the rebalance, following its quarterly earning reports. Then Alphabet fell from 7.2% to 5.5% of the index when you combine Class A and Class C together, and Apple, well, Apple is too much of a great company to lose anything. Then Broadcom and PepsiCo saw a little increase of around 0.5, 0.6%, and all the other companies beyond the top 10 saw some small modifications that is not really worth mentioning. So let's get now to the most important part, which is the impact of this rebalance if you possess QQQ. First of all, if you invested in QQQ or maybe QQQM and you did it for the tech exposure, you don't have to worry. Roughly 58% of the index is still allocated to tech and 19% to consumer discretionary. We had 61% before, so the change in tech isn't really a big deal. Nevertheless, some of you might be disappointed and say, hey, tech was going so good so far and now they cut it. So why should I be happy that technology got reduced? Well, as Ray Dalio says, in finance, if you want to be successful, you need to be able to always do the opposite of what your instincts say. This means, for example, not following the mainstream, and in this case specifically, buy low, say high. I know this sounds obvious, but believe me, most investors end up doing exactly the opposite, and buy when they see something growing fast and sell when they see something dropping. So think about it. What Nasdaq did now to the index, that reflected also on the Invesco QQQ, is exactly what every good investor should do. And the fact that it changed in the index itself and you didn't have to do it yourself is one of the great advantages of ETFs, because you're not forced to pay capital gain taxes because you actually didn't have to sell stocks. The ETF did it for you. And if you are from Europe and you're interested in investing in QQQ, don't worry about it, because as Michael Hutchinson remarked in one of my last videos, you can invest in EQQQ, which is the identical equivalent of QQQ and grew pretty much in the same way since the beginning. The only bitter thing you need to accept is that the expense ratio of the European version is going to be higher, growing to a quite annoying 0.30% compared to an already high 0.20% of the American ETF. Alright guys, this was a quick video just to give you an update on QQQ. Let us know in the comment section below if you invest in QQQ and what you think about the rebalance. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to get new videos about finance and investing every week from your Italian Ginobili. I wish you a great day guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!